Welcome to the Ultimate Tolkien Tournament. This is Middle-earth Madness. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the final night of the Third Age Throwdown. Madness Maestro coming at you here with Chucky and Stryker. Are you prepared for the final fight?
Yes.
Yep. Also, the intro scared my dog Bruno because I guess your voice of death sounds like the voice I use when he's getting in trouble. So he was like during the intro, he was like whining at the and I'm in
poor woof.
Kind of have a different setup going, obviously, because of my leg. Yeah. So I'm like in the living room, which isn't really ideal. So anyway, yeah, but the dogs are here for it. Let's go.
I love it. Are they named Grip, Fang, and Wolf?
No.
Bruno, and what's the other one's name?
Harvey.
Oh man. Good old pooches.
Yeah.
I miss the wolves. So yeah, we are here tonight for the final, the championship, the last fight. And it is between, drum roll please, if you weren't here last night, Saruman the White and Durin's Bane, the Balrog of Moria. So, how did they get here, and how have they done? Well, let's have a quick look, catch people up here. Of course, if you want to see any of the foregoing fights, you know where to do that. You go to middleearthmadness.com, which is what I'm about to show you here. And in the top bar, right now we're looking at the bracket tracker page over on the right. But if you go to the, events page, that'll link you to our YouTube page. And that's probably the best way to get caught up on any fights that you have missed. They're all up there. So you can see any of these that have set up now what is our final fight. Which is, again, the Balrog against Saruman. So, how'd they get here? Let's take you through it real fast. Starting from the bottom. This would be Saruman's path. So Saruman, as you can see, was the 1 seed. And keep in mind, in this tournament format, this is challengers against champions. So the 1 seed, the 4 strongest characters in each region of the bracket got a bye. And what that allows us to do, 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1 at the top, 2 at the bottom, 3 and 4 in the middle, all got byes. They did not fight in this first round. And what that allows us to do is to have a really competitive play-in round. 12s against 11s here, 5s against 6s here, 7s against 8s. And each of those winners then get to challenge one of our champions in the second round. Right, so Saruman was our 1 seed in this middle-bottom round, or region, where the 2 seed was Radagast, his old Istari buddy. The 3 was Galadriel, the 4 was Quickbeam. Saruman got Samwise in the first round, quickly dispensed with him, as you'd expect. He got Quickbeam in the second round, a little nice battle of Fanghorn against Isengard there, and beat the Ent to advance to play Radagast in the Elite 8 for a ticket to the Final 4. He then advanced to play Sauron, who walked through this region at the bottom of the bracket. And of course, he beat Sauron in a pretty crazy fight last night to pull the upset. Great fight, actually. Arguably the fight of the tournament there. So if you haven't seen that one, definitely go back and catch that one. And then at the top, we have the Balrog of Moria. How did he get here? Well, he beat Treebeard. We'll go backwards with him. he beat Treebeard to advance to the final fight. So in the final 4, He had the upset-minded Treebeard here, and he beat him. Before that, though, he had to deal with the 2-seed Glorfindel. Before that, he beat the Watcher in the Water. And then in the first round, little chopped off your screen there, but it was Gorbag, the 11 seed, who he beat there. So, both of them, neither one had a really easy path. I don't know, whose was tougher. Doesn't really matter, but probably the Balrog had the tougher path, I think you could argue, just because, well, I don't know. Saruman had to deal with Sauron, so maybe Sauron had ultimately the tougher path there. Anyways, that's how we got here. And this is where we're at as we welcome Engine Chief to the party. Engine Chief, how are you?
Okay, we have a special guest, can only stay 1 or 2 minutes, okay?
Okay.
Oh, hi.
Ava, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing good. We're out here having Lord of the Rings battles on the computer.
That's
and
fun.
It is fell.
Who's fighting in the championship game?
Saruman against the Balrog of Moria. So yeah, we're gonna simulate that in just a minute here, and
All right.
Some graphics and everything.
You can kind of listen if you want, or come back every once in a while. It takes a while, okay? But I'm going to do it with them.
All right.
Trying to get new addicts for future years.
Exactly. Spread the word, guys. Yeah. So we had Striker here a minute ago. He must have dropped. But yeah. So Engine Chief, of course, if you guys don't know, if this is your first stream, Engine Chief helped us design the battle engine as he picked something out of his teeth on live television. You're all right. And Chucky is another co-founder of this. Him and I have been going back and forth with Lord of the Rings games for a long time. So, and then we welcome Striker back to set the stage. Striker, you dropped, man. You're back.
Yeah, sorry. My
No worries.
the computer I was using, it restarted itself for updates.
Cool. Yeah, so we are here preparing for the first and the last fight of the night and of the tournament here. So, as we were saying, Balrog against Saruman. Let's have a quick look at the character cards here. See how they stack up. Now, all these 1 seeds, of course, they had less than 12 or less losses. Durin's Bane did defeat Saruman when they played in the regular season. Now, that's interesting, right? Because I feel like mostly in this tournament, when there's a rematch, the guy who lost the first time has ended up getting revenge. But maybe that's recency bias. I know that happened with, I think it was Saruman, actually, against Sauron, right? But in any case, Durin's Bane slew Saruman and Gandalf and Elrond and Smaug. He had some bad losses. I think you have to call one a terrible loss to Samwise. Faramir, mediocre, right? But you wouldn't expect Faramir to even win the analogy we've been using, which will continue, is, pretend it's a 7-game hockey series. I don't think you could pick Faramir to even win 1 of the 7 realistically against the Balrog. I think Legolas probably wins 1 of 7, maybe 2 of 7 in Legolas's case with that ranged attack. And then same with Thorin. I think Thorin maybe wins 1 in a 7-game series. So all of those, plus, look at 12 losses. He lost 8 more fights as well against probably medium-ranked characters or high-ranked characters. So he is not... He's not indestructible by any means, kind of how you picture him in the books, and it's always something important to keep in mind. And I'll repeat what I said in the previous stream. The reason for that, because you think, oh, well, Durin's Bane, Gandalf clearly said, "This foe is beyond any of you. Fly, you fools!" And then he was the only one in the Fellowship that could take the Balrog, or even have a chance of doing that, right? So obviously, people say, well, the Balrog would dominate just about anyone else in this field. And to that I say, true enough, but the Maiar, you got to remember, they're not indestructible. They have to wrap themselves in physical forms mostly. Now, the Balrog is a slight exception to this, but for Maiar spirits to interact in Middle Earth, take any example you want. Melian in the First Age, Gandalf, certainly the wizards in the Third Age, which we're centering on here. Their angelic fearsomeness is tempered somewhat into a physical form. And so that's the version of the Balrog we're playing with here. And of course, the rest is virtual dice rolls. Now, again, in any one fight, anything can happen. Because again, virtual dice rolls. That's how Samwise pulled the upset, even though he wouldn't win but maybe 1 in 100 of these fights if you played him again. So that just helps explain, why a creature as fearsome as this can actually lose, and could well lose tonight, against the other character in the fight, who is Saruman the White. Now, former apprentice of Aule back in Valinor. He later, got this, and Aule being the maker, the angel, Vala, that you have to think of as the Forge Man, the god of the Forge, the creator of mountains and caves and metals, and the original smith. It was Aule that created the dwarves prematurely. And it was Saruman, along with Sauron, that apprenticed or studied under Aule. So Sauron and Saruman being Maya, a lesser form of divine being, under the Vala. Now, the Vala are the creators of the universe, right? The ones that wove their themes together to create the world of Middle-earth and Valinor, and the planet as Tolkien has it. So it's just interesting that they were both former students of Aule. And what we know about former students of Aule is they like making stuff so much that they have a real tough time letting go of it, right? And it usually corrupts them to what we call evil in the world of Tolkien, in the Legendarium, right? So both Sauron and Saruman were led astray by their love of creation and their addiction to it, right? They have to be making things. So Saruman spent years trying to learn how to make rings of power. He got obsessed with it. And it ended up, he was lying after a while. It's kind of like addict behavior, You start lying to your buddies in the White Council and saying, the ring clearly was swept out to sea. Yes, because I think I'm the only one in the group that knows that it was in the Gladden Fields and that Gollum found it somewhere thereabouts. And I think Gollum, this weird creature, this former hobbit, now has the ring. And I've heard that it might have been found. So he's running interference with his own buddies to dupe them, because he's become so obsessed with creating these rings of power and then eventually finding the one. He also creates the race of the Uruk-hai, is another foul and sinful creation, a warped and horrific form of life by bringing men with orcs, which Sauron had first made, warping the elves into orcs, and then Saruman further warps the orcs, which are elvish in origin, into these Uruks with human blood, partly, such that they can tolerate light and march in open sunlight, and he can imbue them with extra power to be fast and tireless and strong and all this stuff. So Saruman, no slouch, a fellow maker. And then Durin's Bane, another Maiar, same being. At his essence, he's the same form of being as Saruman. The difference is the Valaraukar, the spirits of fire, almost all joined Melkor in the very, very, very early years of Middle-earth. When the world was not even fully formed, the Valaraukar, the Balrogs, joined Morgoth to a man. except for one. And her name, it was a chick. Her name was Arien. And she ends up creating the sun. So aside from the sunfire of Arien, all the other Valaraukar became what we would call Balrogs. So that sets up tonight's championship fight. So all of that being said, neither here nor there, what are you guys' thoughts? Drop it in the comments if you're watching, but I will start with you, Striker. What do you think of this matchup tonight?
I think that Durin's Bane might have the advantage in this one, and if he ends up making very fatal hits, it could be bad news for Saruman.
It could indeed. What say you, Chucky? Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I'm with Striker there. I don't feel like Saruman has much of a chance here, but who knows? They're both 1 seeds after all.
Yep. So let's take a look at what the...
And both Maiar, right, as you were just saying.
True enough, yeah.
Yeah.
Engine Chief, you got a thought? Or a prediction?
I like to see the math first. Show me the math.
Mm-hmm. First of all, did any... Math is coming up here on the battle engine. Did any of you guys pick either of these to be in the final fight? In your brackets?
I didn't make a bracket.
I didn't make a bracket.
You keep saying that even though you did. I think you just didn't submit it, but okay. So I don't think anyone... I don't think anyone really chose... I think some people chose the Balrog to win it all. I just can't remember who. Anyways, green line is Saruman here. Blue line is the Balrog. So how does this change everyone's thoughts? Saruman is going to prefer ranged combat. Absolutely no surprise there. Durin's Bane, however, is going to try melee with his burning blade. And the battlefield is such that each character is going to heavily use their preferred weapon. So the Balrog is going to stick to his burning blade, and Saruman to his spell casting, the Istari spells.
What's the first red bar there? I can't read it because I'm on my cell phone.
Elusiveness.
Okay, so that's the one thing for Saruman, right?
I think that's his biggest advantage. Magic and elusiveness. He's significantly better at both than the Balrog.
So elusiveness means that when the Balrog tries to close in, he'll be able to sidestep him a lot of the time.
Correct. Yeah, and the Balrog does want to use melee, so when he tries to engage, right, Saruman's going to have a decent chance of, as Engine Chief said, of making that attempt fail. And what that does is then the attack initiative goes back to Saruman. He's going to be able to cast spells, try to dodge, cast
So based
spells,
on that,
dodge.
I'll put my money on him.
Ooh, excellently done. All right, so we've got... I heard you guys right. We've got 2 Balrog picks and a Saruman pick. All right, you guys still time to drop it in the comments. Have a take if you want, and let us know who you got. We're about to kick this one off. The only other thing to point out here, I saw one other thing. Most of the advantages here go to the Balrog. Balrog's biggest advantages are in ferocity and striking. Yeah, which you would expect, right? No explanation needed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I believe we are ready to fight. And so, for the last time in the Third Age Throwdown, all together now, let us fight! In the championship of the Third Age Throwdown, we have Saruman the White against Durin's Bane. And for the last time in this tournament, let us fight. The first attack goes to Saruman with the Starry Incantation. He hits, but he cannot penetrate. Back comes the Balrog. The first attack draws first blood as the Balrog hews for 4 damage. Alright, slight advantage for the Balrog in the second round. Now here comes Saruman. A hit! No damage. Back comes Durin's Bane. He cannot engage. That's something to watch in the fight, as Engine Chief pointed out. The wiliness of the wizard. Okay, now Saruman, can he draw blood? Or hot lava, maybe, from the Balrog? He hits! No damage. Back comes the Balrog. He can't engage. Again, the wily wizard. Saruman attacks. Engages. Can't hit. Durin's Bane counters. A hit and a wound! A damaging stroke by the Balrog with his burning blade. Significant advantage now for him going into the 9th round. Saruman needs an attack that works. What can he do? He attacks. He wounds! Only less than a point. Basically nothing. The Balrog counters. A hit and a wound! Also not much. Saruman's still with a chance here, but he needs damage, and he needs it now. A hit and a wound! And he draws some blood or lava, or perhaps only shadow is pouring out of the beast. Now, okay, 11 rounds in. Balrog's still with a significant advantage here. Can he finish it or make it even closer? Let's see. Nope. And Saruman counters. Can't hit. Back comes the Balrog. Can't engage. Saruman, a hit and a wound to even the fight! And now Saruman has the lead in the 15th round. What say you, gentlemen?
I think Durin's Bane could still have a chance.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's almost even, so he definitely has a chance, but he's lost his lead. Might not matter, let's see. Durin's Bane gets up, dusts himself off, and attacks. Engages, cannot hit. Back comes Saruman. Nope. A hit, no damage there by Durin's Bane, deflected by the wizard. A hit and a wound again by Saruman. And now he has the lead in the 20th round. Back comes Durin's Bane. He attacks.
For the first time, you'd say Saruman has better than 50-50 chance now.
Yes, you have to think so. But man, you know, these guys are both such heavy hitters, especially the Balrog with a melee attack, that all you need is one.
So but there's an elusiveness right there.
That's right. It's going to be hard for him to get that last one. Saruman attacks. Another wound, taking the Balrog down to 36. Now back comes the Balrog. He hits, but he cannot wound. Okay, Saruman, can he whittle him down or even finish him? A hit, no damage. Back comes the Balrog. Can't engage. The wizard is too wily. We're noticing a theme here. Okay, and here comes Saruman, who's casting another spell. He hits, no damage. Back comes the Balrog. He engages that time, but can't hit. What about Saruman? A hit, no wound, and he finishes it! Wins the championship! Saruman slays the Balrog, and he is the champion of the Third Age. Round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Round of applause.
So Gandalf and then Saruman.
Gandalf last year, Saruman does it this year.
Interesting.
Wow. So Balrog started off strong, but man, it was just how we called it. Sometimes we're right? Sometimes we know how this thing works. That elusiveness, and it's worth pulling up the card just one more time to show you guys how that went down. So, if you look at the elusiveness there, the theme of this fight was exactly how Engine Chief called it there, and we talked about before the fight. Saruman's... Sorry, what are we... So, 91 elusiveness for Saruman on the right-hand column there. Combined with 99 spirit, puts him in a very nice position, right? Because, first of all, if you look at our battle flow, the elusiveness prevents Saruman, from being engaged in the very first phase of the fight on your left here, where it says roll to engage in the white square. You have to engage and win that dice roll to even strike. And then when you strike, there's another dice roll to wound, to hit, and then another dice roll to wound, and then how much damage is determined then by a separate set of stats, right? And the theme of that fight in the end was Saruman's elusiveness being too much for the Balrog to handle. And you can see on your screen there, several times the Balrog could not even engage in melee. He maybe should have used his Burning Lash a few more times. He only used it once because he was forced to. And it hit, but it didn't penetrate. So, there's your fight, and there is your championship. Saruman, ladies and gentlemen, is your champion of the Third Age. Yay! It sounds like we got a Saruman fan in the house.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we will go ahead and make it official here in the bracket. Scroll over here. In the championship round, Saruman defeats Durin's Bane. And he is our victor. Now, unofficially here, we're going to do something else. Now, this takes a minute to update, and now that Saruman's been placed there, let me refresh this and see if it gives us our bracket winner. I think I didn't actually check the scores beforehand, so I might need to make this official in the back end of the website, but it looks like Greg beat out Tyler to win the bracket contest. Interesting. So unofficially, let me confirm that, and we'll make the official announcement later. But yeah, it looks like our finalists anyway should be either Tyler or Greg there. So good job with the brackets, guys. Hey man, you guys all would have beaten me. I was Switzerland. I didn't fill one out because I. But if I did in my head bracket, I had Smaug winning it all, and I think he lost in his very first round. So. You guys beat me. All right. So some quick notes here. What are we doing now that the tournament is over? Glad you asked. So we've got another tournament coming up, probably June timeframe, that you guys are going to want to stay tuned for. Different format in that tournament. I think we're also going to do 48 characters, but it's not going to be challengers versus champions. It's going to be based on races. So dwarves, elves, men, and evil beings. Okay, and we're going to put a cool spin on the tournament that way. So look forward to that in June. Meantime, keep following us on socials. We're going to throw different 1v1 matchups at you all the time here. We're going to shoot for once a week roundabout. So just whichever platform you prefer, keep following us and do us a solid and throw out some suggestions, like fights that you guys want to see. We even have some new characters that are going to be rolling out. So watch for those to be dropped as well. New character cards will be coming out for those guys. You can give us your thoughts. You can say, but Maestro, my favorite character sucks in battle. Why'd you make him such a weenus? And I'll have to defend myself in the rankings like we always do. And the short answer is going to be, well, that's part of the fun with tournament brackets and seeding is it's never absolutely, it's art and science, right? You're blending, and there's always arguments and it's always controversial. So that's part of it, right? That's the bottom line. But keep following us, guys. We're going to keep working to get you the best, coolest stuff that we can get. Meanwhile, give us a follow over on MiddleEarthMadness.com. Not a follow, technically speaking. It's called a subscription, right? So if you subscribe, then in the lead up to the June tournament, you're going to have an advantage. Why are you going to have an advantage? Well, we're going to give you inside info in the form of the newsletter called the Memo. See what I did there? Middle Earth Madness. MEMO. Memo. Yeah, it's the memo. So, yeah, that joke. But it's going to be super useful, guys. If you subscribe for $3.79 per month, which allows us to build our fantasy game that we really want to roll out to you guys next year. Help us cover the dev costs for that. And in exchange, you get a free entry into every tournament that we run. And you also get the newsletter, which will help you win said tournament. And the big news is the future tournaments, unlike this one, are going to offer you cash payouts. So our winners are going to be paid. So you're going to compete for money, and the winners will get money. So there's your incentive. Go subscribe and receive a lot more, trips to the lower door via the newsletter and some inside info. That's all my promotional stuff done. Final thoughts on this tournament and this final fight, guys, before we exit.
I just had a thought. I just had a thought. So whoever wins the tournament and wins money ought to get their name on the tournament after that. You know what I mean? They get bragging rights.
Yeah, we can explore that. Like, certainly if they want to promote something, we can add that to the winners package and whatnot. But cash payout is also a pretty good prize too.
Okay.
What else we got, guys?
Not a lot, man. It was fun as always. Yeah, I said it earlier, but it's interesting that we've had two wizards to Istari win. So Radagast next year for the trifecta, I guess.
At this rate, maybe so. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I teased the fact that in the next tournament, we are going to have some new characters to look for. A couple of which I'm pretty excited about, right? It's probably not going to be Tom Bombadil. Don't throw the whole Tom Bombadil monkey wrench at us. Ultimately, he will be involved. We're not going to ditch him, but he's just so hard to seed and figure out even battle stats with, right? So, yeah. That's not what I'm talking about. I'll leave it I'll leave it as a teaser for now, and you guys are going to have to follow us online or subscribe to the newsletter because content will be coming on this guy. But the more I learn about him, the more I'm excited to throw this character your way and see what you guys think. So, all right. I won't keep you guys any longer. Thanks, everyone, so much for following along. This has been a fun tournament, like we said. Not really the epic upsets in this one as in past tournaments, but what that did is it set up a pretty ridiculously fell Final Four and final game with all the highest seeds in there. So trade-offs all around. Yeah, thanks for watching, for listening, for supporting. And as Professor Tolkien said, you can only come to the morning light through the shadows. And where there is light, there is always hope.
Great job, Maestro.
Thanks, Ninja Chief. Right back at you. And you are never out of the fight. We'll see you guys in June, or hopefully before that.